What do you think of quants? Jim Simon's Medallion Fund has done 39% net of fees for 3 decades, which proves that it works.
They were very, very smart.
Yes, they got very rich.
Very, very smart.
And very smart and very rich, yes. And very high grade, by the way.
Yeah.
Jim Simons.
Jim Simons is considered to be one of the greatest traders of all time, who has beaten the likes of Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger, and his strategy has been purely a quant-based strategy. What he does in his fund is extremely secretive, but there are certain ideas and there are certain concepts that we could get from what he does through this book that I've been reading. And most of my strategies that I've come across, which I do in my personal life, has also been inspired from this book. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take some of the information that we can find in this book and start coding and try to see the results and try to figure out what Jim Simons has been doing in this fund. So one of the pages in the book here, it's about Axe. Axe used to work for Jim Simons. He was part of the fund, and he's also some kind of a mathematical genius. I think he's got like amazing papers written by him. And if you can see in this paragraph, he focuses on a thing called Markov chain. So in a Markov chain, each step along the way is impossible to predict with certainty, but future steps can be predicted with some degree of accuracy if one relies on a capable model. And they go on to create a stochastic equation based on this Markov chain. Another important thing, which is just a few pages prior to this, was this one. Laufer, again another mathematical genius working for Simons, and they did more of a mean reverting strategy. So here the strategies were often based on the idea that prices tend to revert after an initial move higher or lower, and they would buy futures contracts if they opened at unusually low prices. So that is a typical example of a mean reverting strategies. So at the end of the book, one of the things that I noticed was his trading result. And if you can see in 2008, 2007, which was basically the recessionary time frame, he went on to make 152% return, 136% return. That's substantially higher than any of those years. And you've got to understand that during recessionary periods, the volatility is extremely high and mean reverting strategies perform extremely well. So even the strategies that we do in our course, especially Q3 and Q5, worked tremendously well during the 2008-2007 recession and also the past 2 years. So this is one of the strategies that we teach in the course, Q5, and it's performed very well the past 2 years, and also in the 2008 recession. This is a mean reverting strategy. So if I can zoom into some of the strategies, you can hear short here, close position there, long here, close position the next day, long here, close position there. So you're always going to see lots of good trades in recession environment. The past 2 years has been really good for a mean reverting based strategy. So this is the trading result of that mean reverting strategy on the SPY. And if I can look into that buy and hold equity line, this period you see here, that was the 2008 recession. You can literally see the blue line, which is the S&P 500 buy and hold, has crashed almost 50%, but the mean reverting strategy performed extremely well. Now, if you can go back to the 2001-2002 period, it's literally an X. The blue line went down considerably while our strategy performed extremely well. Same thing can be seen the past 2 years, because 2001 to 2021, 2022, and including now, the market still hasn't recovered. You can see from the peak it's been going down and still is in like a consolidation, doesn't recover at the highs, but the strategy has performed extremely well. And the reason why is because of the recessionary environment. Recessionary volatility based, high volatility based environment gives great results for mean reverting strategies. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to discuss what the Markov process is, because Markov process is what we saw from the book, and what is a Markov process and how we can create trading strategies from the Markov process. So to start off with, Markov process is basically a random sequence of events where the probabilities of the future is based on the current state. Okay, it's not based on the past. So tomorrow's probabilities depends upon today. It's not dependent on yesterday. So for instance, if I have to predict the weather prediction for tomorrow is based on today and not yesterday. So Markov process is used in many different fields, just not in the quantitative trading field. It's also used in weather forecasting and many other fields. So I hope you guys understood the definition of Markov process. Now I'm going through the example of it so you guys get an idea in simple terms. So let's take two scenarios. So one is a Markov guy and the other is a human being. So let's take the case of a human being. Let's take myself as a condition. So I wake up in the morning, I wake up at home, and then I go to the shop to buy some stuff, and I buy the stuff, and then I go to work. So when I reach the shop, I know I came from home, so there's no reason for me to go back to home, so I can go straight to work. So Markov, on the other hand, he goes from home and goes straight to the shop, and now he's in the current state, right? So in the current state, he can go either home or to work, because he doesn't know what happened the previous instance as compared to human being. So the whole Markov probabilities is based on this this current state and future state, because the shop is where the current state is, and once Markov is in that current state of the shop, he can go either to home or to work. But when Markov is at work, he has nowhere else to go, so he goes straight to shop. Same thing goes when he's at home, he has nowhere else to go, and then he goes straight to the shop. So if you're calculating the probabilities of the Markov, that's when things get slightly not complicated, but the numbers start to come into play. So when he is at home, there's only one place for him to go, and that is to the shop. So there's a 100% probability that he will go to the shop, so then we write 1. Now on the other scenario, when he's at the shop, as I said before, he doesn't know where he came back from, so he can go either to home or to work. So now there's a 50% chance for him to go either home or work. Now once Markov reaches work, again he has nowhere else to go, so he's got a 100% probability that he will go to the shop. So this is how simple the Markov probability is. Now if you are putting this into trading perspective, so let's take a trading example into consideration. So forget the thing that's going on here, let's just focus on this one here. So these numbers are hypothetical numbers, so I'm going to explain to you what this is all about. So you see this positive percentage and negative percentage. So whenever you see the news, you always see the market went up 5% and the market went down 2% and things like that. So that's a percentage move for the specific day. So in this positive percentage move, the 0.7 depicts the probability of the next day being positive percentage. So if today is a positive percentage close, if today is an up day, then the next day's probability is 0.7. Now the 0.7 is just a hypothetical number, so don't go deep into it as of now. So this positive percentage, for the next day to be a positive percentage, is 0.7. So what will be a negative percentage? It's pretty simple. It's 1 minus 0.7. That is 0.3. So you can see the arrow here. That's minus percentage. So similarly, when it's today's negative percentage, what is the probability that the next day will be negative? Well, here I put in 0.2. So what's the probability that it will be a positive? It's 1 minus 0.2, which is 0.8. Now, how did I come across all these numbers? Well, you can calculate in many ways. You can calculate just based on historical data. We can calculate the number of up days and the number of down days and divide it by the up day and the total number of down days, and we'll get the probability of the up days and down days. And then there are machine learning models as well. So if you can go through that book, one of the things that they have done is even before many years, you're talking about 30 years or so, they've been using machine learning models. But now these days you can use machine learning models with just a few lines of code. So I hope you guys understood the whole idea of this thing, of this Markov probabilities. These numbers are just hypothetical, but now you can put this into a matrix, right? This is called a transitional matrix. So you've got the positive percentage, you've got the negative percentage, you've got the positive percentage, you've got the negative percentage here as well in the columns. So a positive percentage and the next day is a positive percentage is 0.7, as you saw here. Similarly, a positive percentage and the next day is a negative percentage is 0.3. Again, negative percentage day and the next day is a positive percentage day is 0.8, as you can see here, and a negative percentage followed by the next day, a negative percentage is 0.2. So if you can observe something, 0.7 plus 0.3 is 1, and 0.8 plus 0.2 is again 1. So this is basically a transition matrix. So here we have just taken 2 days in a row, so we can actually have more rows and more columns where you can have plus plus minus minus here, or plus 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 minus minus minus. You can have many kinds of permutations and combinations in this, but these is basically Markov trading, and this is how we calculate the trading probabilities.